In Chapter 18, we talked about cognitive development in late adulthood. We started out by talking about cognitive functioning in older adult topics such as multidimensionality and multidirectionality, and things underneath like cognitive mechanics, explicit memory, cognitive pragmatics, and more. Then we go to education, work, and health, use it or lose it, and cognitive activity, training cognitive skills and episodic memory challenges, cognitive neuroscience and aging, and the Denise Park and Patricia Reuter-Lorenz propose a neurocognitive scaffolding view, and language development and the difficulties of that at an older age. Next, we learned about work and retirement topics such as work and how a cognitively stimulating work context promotes successful aging and retirement, and at the different stages in which people retire. Lastly, we talk about mental health topics such as depression and the different stages and risk factors such as dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and other afflictions like Parkinson's disease, and the toll it takes on the body and mental health, and religion and spirituality, and how many older people take on religious aspects and how it can meet psychological needs. In Chapter 19, we learned about socio-emotional development in late adulthood. We started out by talking about theories of socio-emotional development, such as Erikson's theory, life review, and reminiscence therapy, activity theory, socio-emotional selectivity theory, and how older adults become more selective about their social networks, and lastly, selective optimization with compensation theory and how selection, optimization, and compensation all come together. Next, we learned about personality, the self, and society, and topics such as personality, self-esteem, and how based on a large cross-sectional study, self-esteem tends to decline significantly in the 70s and 80s and other adults in society, and things like ageism, income, technology, and more. Next, we talk about families and social relationship topics such as lifestyle diversity like marriage, divorce, and cohabitation. Attachment and how adults have fewer attachments, older adults like parents and their children, great grandparenting and their stories, friendship in late adulthood, and how in late adulthood new friendships less likely to be forgotten about, but close friendships are maintained. Social support and social integration, like social integration and altruism and volunteering, and how older adults are more likely to behave in an altruistic way and value contributions to the public good. Lastly, we talked about ethnicity, gender, and culture topics such as ethnicity and how elderly ethnic minority individuals face both ageism and racism, gender in late adulthood and how femininity and masculinity decrease in late adulthood, cultures such as health, security, and support, and successful aging, which characterizes individuals whose physical, cognitive, and socio-emotional development is maintained longer and declines later. In Chapter 20, we talked about death, dying, and grieving. We started off with the death system and cultural context topics, such as the death system and its cultural variations, like people, time, objects, etc., and then changing historical circumstances, like how today death occurs most often among older adults. We then talked about defining death and life-death issue topics such as issues in determining death like brain death and decisions regarding life, death, and health care like a living will, care plan, advance directive, euthanasia, and more. Next, we talk about a developmental perspective on death topics such as causes of death like a miscarriage or SIDS, and attitudes towards death at different points in the lifespan from childhood to adulthood. Next is facing one's own death topics, such as the Kubler-Ross stages of dying, like denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, and perceived control and denial. Next, we talk about coping with the death of someone else, topics such as communicating with a dying person, grieving in the dimensions, making sense of the world, losing a life partner, and forms of mourning. Now, the Kubler-Ross stages of dying, I'm a CNA, and we do actually use that in trying to figure out where people are if somebody does pass away. So that was interesting to go back over. But yeah, that's what we've learned.